Hello and welcome to today's session. I am going to talk about hiking gear today. And I know we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago on the 5 questions to ask before you go into the hiking store that will save you money with your hiking gear. But today I want to talk about some practical experience. I'm going to share some examples of some of my things as well, in the hope that when you are considering either your next purchase or your first purchase for hiking, you can give the same consideration to things that I did and also learn from the mistakes that I made as well. So hello, it's Yvonne from Women's Fitness Adventures. I've been doing this segment for about 11 years now. Changes every couple of years for which day, but pretty much for 11 years. So welcome to my world, welcome to the hiking world, and welcome if you are watching. So hello, Brod from lovely Launceston. Hi, Lynn from Benora Point, and hello, Karen from Claremont. So covering the whole east coast of Australia right now. So lovely to have you here. I'd love for today's session to be interactive too. So if you've got some stories about gear and equipment that you would like to share, or lessons that you've learned along the way, either from us or picked up that you think are worth sharing, we'd love you to share that with everyone who's viewing today and viewing on the replay. So welcome from wherever you are. So I want to talk about some real life gear experiences. About 18 months ago, I made a video, and the video was on me packing my gear for the Pyrenees. And that video got thousands and thousands of views, and there was nothing special about it. I was literally just packing my gear for our Pyrenees hiking trip and putting everything into my big 90-litre Osprey bag transporter that I use. But what everyone liked about that was it showed the real practical example of how to pack and what to pack for a multi-day hike, especially one where you're not having your car and you can access things quite quickly. And one of the biggest questions I get asked from my friends, whether they're in the hiking world or not, is when they travel, especially if they're going on an active holiday. If you are doing the touristy thing and walking, then that's not so as challenging. It's challenging, but not as challenging. But if you are going to do a hike, or you're going to do, as some of my friends do, just ran the London Marathon, and then they're going on to some sightseeing and active holidays after that, how many pairs of shoes do you actually take? And that is always the biggest challenge. So I'm going to talk about some real life examples for hiking of my gear and share that with you. So hello, Sandra from Redcliffe, and hello, Sandra from Central Coast or somewhere in New South Wales, and hello, Anne from the Central Coast as well. Lovely to have you here. So what are some things that I have bought that were expensive and a disaster? So I won't name brands, because that wouldn't be fair, because it's not the brand's fault. It's actually my fault that I didn't do my research right the first time. So we bought as a company a one-man tent, a really, really super lightweight one-man tent for a hike that we were going on, but got disrupted by the pandemic, so we didn't end up going on it. But the reality was that we should never have bought that tent. It was a really lightweight tent. It was easy to put up if you used your hiking poles as the poles of the tent. And it turned out that what we could have done was just hired the tent from our adventure partner, which would have saved us having to find it to start with, to put it in our luggage, to cart it over there, and then go through the hassle of setting it up each and every night that we were on that hike. So that was a very expensive lesson learned, is that if you are buying something for a single purpose only, is there another way around it? Can you actually hire that? And in most places you can. And I know with our adventure partners, when we go to New Zealand, that you can hire some of the gear, especially a sleeping bag if you only need it for one night, or when you're on one of those adventures, if you are doing an overnighter into one of the alpine huts and you need a larger backpack, you just hire one for the night rather than go and buy and add another backpack, unless you want to your repertoire. So, really important to think about the gear that you buy should be universal, not just that single purpose. And if you're ever wondering, just think about us and that one tent. The other thing that I have purchased that is still sitting in my cupboard, that has never been used, and have had that for, when did we do that? I've had that for 5 years now, and I've taken it out of the pack to try and figure out how to use it, then put it back in the box, and it's sat in the cupboard just over there. Is and again, I won't say the brand, but it's a water bottle that appropriate at the time because the pandemic was on, that had a filter inside it, and it will filter out bacteria and virus. So potentially one day I will use it. Actually, I'm going to give it to my sister who's heading off on a trip soon, a caravan trip. So it will filter out bacteria and viruses, but it's bulky, and there are much better versions now out there that are collapsible and will fold that out. But that was a purchase born out of the pandemic and going on a hike and not knowing if we would have fresh water, but turned out there were lots of other options for us. So, even us who hike all of the time, that's our job, that's what we do, we still make these gear mistakes. And my wish for you is that you don't make these same mistakes, that you ask the questions first, because by asking the questions, you can save yourself lots of money, which you can then put to whatever you want, but put to, in my case, put to adventures. So hello, Marie. Hello, Diane. Lovely to have you here, Diane. Hello, Leanne as well. Alethea and Leonie. Love to have you all here. So that would be my tip, is to try and just not buy these bright, shiny objects that we can get distracted by, and things that are really just single use only. And one of the things that I was chatting to some people the other day that had purchased, that they were new to hiking, and they had purchased a whole lot of gear and equipment. So the basic things, the things that are most important, are your raincoat. So I'll talk about that in a minute. Your backpack, which is down here, and your boots, which I'm going to talk about in a minute as well. They look really big on the screen here, don't they? So they were talking about the gear that they had spent as first timers and how it added up to a lot of money for them. And we were having a chat today, Jane and I, one of our crew leaders, and saying that anything that is a hobby is an investment of your time and your money and your, effort. But it's not until after you've purchased your gear and used it, and assuming it's fit for purpose gear, that you realize that it's not a waste of money. It's not a, oh, I shouldn't have bought that. It's actually, that thing was fit for purpose. That thing stopped me from getting wet. That thing stopped me from getting cold. That thing allowed me to carry everything on my back. That thing protected my feet, that allowed me to be able to do the hike that day. So you don't actually see the value of what you purchase unless you keep using it over and over again. So if you buy all the gear and you only buy it for one hike, and then go, no, that's not for me, then that is a big waste. That's probably your most expensive purchase, which is why we always say to people, do your homework, ask other people. Don't buy anything to start with. Just come as you are and come and learn. And interestingly, those people that I had were talking about how much they had spent on gear hadn't really had access to the learning and knowledge that our members do inside our community, where we are trying and testing gear all the time. And if you have read the newsletter in the last couple of weeks about Jane's shoes that she tested, and there's another one coming about a raincoat that Jane has been testing. And we're going to be testing in the next couple of weeks some of the new backpacks that are out there as well. So, when you have access to all of that information, as our members do, you're actually making informed choices, and you're making informed choices that will save you money in the long term. Now, as I said, one of the things that is really important to have on a hike is a backpack. Now I'm going to hold mine up, and some of you have seen it, and it's heavy from today because I've got all my stuff in it. And my pack is heavier than most people's because with me, I'm actually, in charge of the hike. So I have a lot of stuff in here that people generally don't have. And you can see my backpack here, put that the right way, has got the bassinet bit at the back. But the new backpacks are starting to change. And we have a masterclass coming up in a couple of weeks about the new style of backpacks that don't seem to have that. The mold or the shape of the packs is changing. And when they're changing and perhaps taking out some of these structural elements, the technology is becoming so good that it might make it a little bit lighter. So you have to tune into that masterclass if you're a member for that one. But I say with a backpack, the real life lesson, I have in that cupboard about 4 or 5 different backpacks. The day pack that I use all the time, I hang on to till it literally falls apart. I have a smaller one if I'm just going on like if most of my holiday is holiday and just walking and tourist things, and there's a couple of hikes in there, I'll take a smaller one. And then I've got some big ones for, where I have to take all my gear. But this smaller one is the best. But I think, some real life lessons are, do not buy too small. I have seen so many women go, I don't need a backpack your size. It's too big. This one's a 36 liter. But you do. If you are serious about hiking, it doesn't mean you have to be a serious hiker, but you're serious about being safe and being prepared out on the trail. A 25 liter or less backpack will not get you out of trouble should the weather change. You won't be able to fit everything into it. So I want you to and you won't have enough water and things like that. And I know that because of the experience of what our members have told us. And I think I've shared this before. I can argue black and blue in the store. Do not buy that. That is going to be wasting your money. If you're just going around and about town, that's fine. Or just doing some little training hikes in the same familiar area of 2 or 3 hours all the time, perfect. Or if you're a trail runner, then that's a completely different backpack. But, they'll say, no. And then the next time we have a store event, it is, I don't even have to do the saying. They're the ones in front of the backpack saying, do not buy too small. Do not buy a 25 litre. It is not big enough. So really have a think about that. And the tip for that is to take everything into the store that you are going to use on your hike. But think about it being universal hiking. So hiking in all sorts of climates where you can fit in your safety gear, as in your first aid. You can fit in your raincoat or your wet weather gear. You can fit in your food, and you can fit in adequate water as well. So have a think about that. And of course, the smaller the packs are, the less structure or less weight they will hold. So you might be able to shove, as much as you possibly can into a 25 litre pack. But if it can't structurally hold that weight, then you're going to really hurt your shoulders. So have a think about that too. So hello, Karen. Hello, Barbara. Hello, Christine. Hello, Christine. And hello, Jelena. Hope that you're all well. So essential 1 was the backpack. Essential 2, it was a Christmas investment purchase, I will say the brand here is a beautiful Mont Hydronaut Pro raincoat. It will protect me in all climates where it's rainy or windy, and it feels really good on. Just such a good quality Australian brand there. Can't recommend that enough. And of course, the good old hiking boot. Now, I choose boots over shoes. There is some argument for shoes over boots, and it all depends on your ankle strength and your ankle mobility, but it also depends where you're going to go. As I've said before, some trails of the world don't let you go on them with trail shoes. You need to have boots because they're so rocky. So boots give my ankles a lot more stability. These ones are super cushiony as well. They have a normal size foot, a narrow foot, I should say. Nothing extraordinary about my feet. So I can fit into most sizes, but depending on your foot shape and size and how you're structured, it might be different for you. But padding is really important, especially when you get to my age, and all sorts of things can go wrong. And I keep learning all things that can go wrong with your feet every other day. So really important to me. And as we've spoken about before, there's 50 million ways that you can tie shoelaces to protect your foot and protect your ankle. The thing with the shoes, and another good investment that I've made, is they're here, but you can choose, there's a whole lot of different brands, is to have a buddy. So I'm out on the trail, and depending how long you're out, your feet can get sore. So as we know, happy feet make for happy hiking. Is I have this. So there's a couple of different ones. There's Aussie soles. There's some Birkenstocks that are pretty flat. Birkenstocks don't work for me. These ones are the UFOS. They seem to work too. Just some cushiony things to put my feet on to take the load off at the end of the day. So that's a really good thing. So what are some inexpensive things that I've discovered along the way that are just like, woohoo, can't live without them, especially on a multi-day hike. And when you travel and when, you want to be you want to err on the side of lightness, not heaviness, is I have some of those little Enyo face cleaners where you don't need to take cleanser. But if you, and they're fabulous, but if you take cleanser and you don't want to take a face washer because they don't dry very, very fast, is chucks. Because chucks you can just wash out, and you can, wash your face, you can wash your body, and you can just wring them dry. You can hang them off the back of your backpack, or you just throw them out. And they're really super lightweight. You can use them to wipe up spills, all sorts of things. You can even use them as a cooling towel if you have to. So chucks are a really great, inexpensive thing, especially when you're traveling. The other inexpensive thing that is so invaluable, and I have had this one now for 11 years, is my sarong. Yep. So this sarong is, I don't take a towel. The sarong is my towel. It is so lightweight. It is so big. It is so multi-purpose. You can scrunch it up. It dries, and if it doesn't dry quickly, you just hang it off the back of your towel. So it has so much value in the sarong, which you can pick up anywhere. And as I said, I've had that one for 11 years now. And look at that. Look how small that would even fit if I was really clever if I wanted to, but I don't, into a Ziploc bag. So, compare that to a microfiber towel, which is, you may like, they're not my big thing because I don't find that they dry me or dry at all. So sarong is a super helpful item to have in your kit as well for multi-day hiking. Now, there's two other things I want to share. Well, what goes with my boots, I should have gone this with the boots, is gaiters. So they're not gaiters they're going to protect me should there be any critters on the trail, but more so they go over the boot like that. So over sock cover, they're called, is that I don't want little stones going in here when I'm on the trail, especially a lot of dusty trails. Little stones getting in there can be potential blister opportunities as well. So I just put that over there. It also gives me a bit more height if I'm wading through creeks, that the water will only go in as high as the water can be up to there before it'll start to go in the top. So it is a great thing. And they're those moleskin ones, and they're pretty inexpensive as well. So if you're wondering where to get those, just drop me a comment in here and I can help you out there. And then the two final things I want to share, one was by accident, which I take in my my big Osprey transporter when I travel, is this. It's a laundry bag. So I use the packing cells, and the packing cells, some people are really clever and just label them and have in there what's what. I just use it to make sure I've got compression space. But what I do when I'm out on the trail and then back at night is my dirty stuff, and I try to not have a lot of it, goes into here, so that especially if I'm staying in the one place and it's like hiking out and back each day, or traveling and then coming back to the same location, is that I put my dirties in here just to separate it out. And then when I'm ready to go home, I'll pack it into a Ziploc bag. And I picked that up at Big W. So I was just waltzing around Big W in the, laundry department, I think, and I found that. So it's a really great way to keep the smellies. And then even if your shoes are wet on the way home, you could pop them into your suitcase or travel bag on the way home as well. And then my final thing, got that, Lynn? I will drop that into the members group for you. Short gaiters are great for keeping stones and sand out of shoes. Absolutely, they are. And hello, Leanne from Adelaide. Welcome home from Japan. And then the final thing that is with me pretty much every single day of my life, whether I'm hiking or not, is my Nalgene water bottle. So this one is the 400 ml. Nalgene is BPA free, so it's a good one to have. I'm all for trying to not use plastic as much as possible, and this works. You can put boiling water in this and use it in a sleeping bag or in your bed at night if you're cold. You can use it as a foam roller. You can use it as a hand weight. Yeah, you can carry it like that. You can put a mouthpiece on it. This one's got, I have to be careful I don't spill it. It's got water, but it's got the wide mouth top on it, but you can get the little inserts for it as well. And this one's 400 ml. So if I've got my water bladder, which of course is an essential, I think, but some people don't like water bladders. Most Europeans don't hike with water bladders. I just find we drink a lot more water. I do. This is a 400 ml, so I take it whether it's full or empty, depends on how much water I have in my water bladder. But if I want to make up a hydrolyte or something like that, I will tip everything into, tip the hydrolyte into here, never ever into my water bladder, because I know what the dilution is, and that's really easy to drink. I have it in my car as well, fits nice and neatly into the cup holder of the car. And some handbags, depending what I've got, it will fit in there as well. It goes with me to the gym. I have about 3, so I don't have the same one all the time. My sticker's gone a bit faded now. But this is just such a handy water bottle. They do come with a lifetime guarantee. We don't get any benefit from me promoting this, so I'm just sharing that this is one of my probably most used every single day items when we go hiking. Or when I go anywhere, it is the single most used item. So there you have it. Some of my epic failures that I purchased that are sitting in the cupboard worth thousands of dollars. Some of my essentials, which I shared with you as well. And then those little things that over all the years, over the past, 11 years, and I think I've had a Nalgene for, different ones, because I keep losing them, for over 11 years as well. And I literally wouldn't be without them. So there's plenty of other stuff in my kit. And you might think when you're first starting out, oh, there's so much to buy. And there is so much to buy, but you don't have to buy it. And like any hobby, it's fun buying stuff, but starting out slow, starting out with knowledge, starting out with learning from others' experiences, and borrowing if you have to, is the absolute best way to do it. And I think I said this before. I was in a store quite a couple of years ago, and a woman walked in to the store, the adventure store, while I was in there, and was going on a hike, and said she didn't understand anything in the store and couldn't understand why things were so expensive. And the company that she was going with had not given her any indication of why she needed the things, why she needed that specific type of raincoat, for example, a Gore-Tex raincoat, and she couldn't just have a raincoat. And so she ended up walking out of the store super, super frustrated with nothing. And, you might think a raincoat, as we say often, is a raincoat. It's not. And hiking pants are, great to have. Hiking tights, everything's come such a long way, but the stuff that you buy in the stores is fit for purpose, and it is technical, but you don't have to have it all. I'll just share this from Brod. I purchased my equipment gradually as I've considered I needed it, and am now well equipped thanks to your advice. Yeah. And you do get to, thank you, Brod, to a point where you go, I actually have enough. And, I will happily swap things with people that if it doesn't work for me, or, share willingly my advice around what works. But, protecting our feet, protecting our wellness or our health with our raincoats or our wet weather gear, and then keeping our safety with the pack are really the three things that are most important. And in the pack has the things like the water bottle. So, it shouldn't be complicated. And if you're finding it complicated, then reach out and say, hey, can I have some help? Because it shouldn't be complicated to buy things, and it shouldn't be complicated to understand why you need to buy things that are on your packing list either. A good explanation goes a long way. When you understand the why, you can ask those educated questions in the store. And remember, not all stores are created equal as well. So if you find yourself walking into a store and not getting anyone to help you, then you probably need to walk out of that store and find another store till you know what you're looking for. Because it is very easy and very tempting to buy that shiny, nice little new jacket that's out there, or that little gadget or that little widget, when you really don't need any of it at all. And look at me, I've got stuff in that cupboard. And one day I'll share with you how many hiking jackets not raincoats, hiking jackets, mid layers. I actually have. So yeah, so that is it from me for this week. Like I said, if you have questions that relate to gear, or I will share for our members that Gator supplier. If you have any other questions, please just let me know. Let me just check here with Christine. Says, hello, Christine. When I first looked at buying hiking shorts, I was horrified at the price tag. Now, when I need my shorts, my first port of call is Anaconda to see if they have a sale. Yeah, and that's a really, really valid point that you raise as well. Never buy anything at full price. Never from a hiking store. They either have, for our members, we get a discount at that store, but other stores will always have a sale. Something will always be on sale. Never buy anything. Yeah, awesome, Kathleen. Glad you went into the store. They are fantastic, super helpful. And if they're not helpful, you need to let us know, because we do send it back to them and say you weren't helpful at all. So thank you for that. And hello, Debbie from Ireland. Lovely to have you listening in as well. So yeah, like Christine said, never ever buy anything on sale. And if you do buy something, Boots will give you those couple of days to trial at home and then take back. But if if you buy something and you're not happy with it, or you're not happy with your backpack, take it back. Take it back, because you need to make sure that you're 110% happy with something, or it's not going to work for you on the trail. And there's nothing more frustrating than getting out on the trail and going, oh gosh, that isn't working for me. So, take your time. Take a deep breath, ask lots of questions. Chances are, if you're asking questions, the store person will more than likely want to help you even more. So there you go. That's it for this week. Some success, some failures, personal experience, my real life examples of gear for you. So if you enjoyed that, please leave a comment below, and I will catch you next time here on Women's Fitness Adventures. So thanks, and see you then. Bye.